We are back for another Christian review of regular books, and today we are discussing Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. For those of you who have never seen one of these videos before, here's how it's going to go down. First, I do my regular review, what you know and love to expect from a book review, star rating, my personal opinion, a little bit about the book, all without spoiling it. But then I get into my Christian review, and that's where I go over the basic piece of a book that may or may not have a fellow believer, or honestly anyone, wanting to read it. I give more caveats and any more information you may need about these reviews at the video that's pinned to the top of the playlist. Or you should be able to click here somewhere. However, if you're still here, let's go ahead and get into my regular review. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch is a very interesting book. It's a sci-fi, and so it's fast-paced, and it's like a sci-fi thriller. And this is the thing, I'm not a science girly, okay? I'm not smart in the scientific ways, and I really know nothing about science. You could spew a whole lot at me, and I'd be like, that's nice. So when a book makes me feel like I understand what's happening in science when I don't, I'm all in, you know? I'm obsessed. I'm grateful. And that's exactly what I felt about this book. A lot of you guys have probably heard about this book because it did also become an Apple TV show about a year ago, I think, at this point. And I read this because I was just enjoying Blake Crouch's books and fast-paced fiction. And so I happened to pick it up, and then I've been watching the show, and the show is, I think, a little bit better once you get into it. I think the beginning's slower than it feels in the book. The book jumps off right from the get. Now, this has a lot to do with like quantum physics, and so it's a lot about this idea that the main character, Jason, was kidnapped, and then he wakes up in a different dimension and different experience. He doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have a child, and him trying to get back to the dimension in which he was with his wife and children and everything that follows along. It was so fun to read. This is the one caveat I will say about Blake Crouch, and all the books I've read by him so far, is that he doesn't write emotions very much. He writes quick, fast-paced thrillers, but you miss some of the emotional and therefore depth of the characters. So I'm all there for the vibes, I'm all there for the action, but I could take or leave all of the characters because I'm not invested. I'm not crying. I'm not wanting to know what happens. I'm not keeping up myself at night because I want to make sure that they're okay. So that is one area that I do think just is a little lacking for me in his writing, but I do love all the vibes that come along except that. So I ultimately rated it 4.25 stars. If you want to see everything that I'm reading and rating in real time, you can do so by following me on Goodreads. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and I do have my own YouTube channel, so if you want to see more of my reading and life journey, click the links down below in the description box. Now let's go ahead and get into my Christian review. The first topic I always love to touch on is smut or spice because it's popular, and no, it's almost all fade to black with just a little bit of kissing. And again, we're talking about a married couple, but still I know that we always look at the smut or spice anyways. The second category is explicit language, and yes, Blake Crouch likes to write explicit language. This book was no different. It definitely had a fair bit of it, and a lot of using Jesus's name as like an expletive or just in common everyday language. And so I know some readers may not want to read that. So if that is not for you, it's something good to know. The third category is violence and gore. And yes, honestly, considering it's a 300-page book, it is a lot more than I realized or thought there would be in certain scenes or situations. Ultimately, I do think it's a little bit on the gory side. This book is probably great for anyone aged 16 and up. Again, mainly the gore, but I also think it would be really interesting and fun. I bet a teenager who likes science fiction would love it. Maybe even if they don't like science, because I enjoy it, and I know nothing about science. Before you go, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can stay up to date on all of these Christian reviews of regular books. On top of keeping you up to date, it helps us know that the content we're providing is content you want to keep seeing. And since we're a nonprofit, it's basically like a free way for you to donate. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and comment, and we cannot wait until we see you on the next one.